Hello, I'm Vara.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I think I'm Roxy.
You think you're Roxy?
I think so. Okay. Hi, I'm
Either
Roxy.
way, you might be listening to VCR,
Possibly.
maybe. Or you could be listening to some kind of weird psycho killer. Kekeshe.
Ba, 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 ba.
Run, 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 run away. You might be thinking we're high. That's not true. Only one of us might be high on this show. The other one's just being weird.
Good luck figuring out which one if we wouldn't have
I,
raised our hands.
but you know what? Figuring that out would be easier than what we watched trying to figure out how that
Oh,
was
man.
working. Oh my God. So today's episode is Bodies, the Netflix series. Now, I'm very disappointed in one thing. They did not use the song.
They definitely did not. Missed
Before.
opportunity.
I was like, oh my God, how can you have a song called Bodies and you're not dropping let the bodies hit the
No,
floor, let the
seriously.
bodies hit the floor,
Especially because that body hit the floor.
yeah, I'm seriously, I mean, it literally hit
Missed
the floor.
opportunity.
I was like,
Missed
golden,
opportunity.
golden opportunity, and you didn't come in with that soundtrack?
Yeah.
No. So, Bodies is an interesting TV series that is
Very.
based on a DC graphic novel, which is something
Oh,
I didn't know.
I
I
didn't
saw
know that either.
I saw it in the credits. I was like, did that say DC? And I looked and I was like, oh my God, this is a DC graphic novel? Like, good on you. I mean, it
Kudos,
still
kudos.
sucks you missed that opportunity for that song, but I mean, really
Yeah.
good graphic novel. And it's one of these things where I got to tell you. So for me and Roxy had different interest points in this series, Bodies, which again, you can find it on Netflix if you're interested in it. But Bodies took me, for me personally, it took me 4 episodes to get into. Roxy, however, how many?
I was in immediately.
In immediately. She loved it from start. You know,
Yeah, I did.
like,
I did. I was in. Like even the first episode, I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's do this. What's going on?
yeah,
Like, but I'm big sci-fi, like, and I love anything that has to do with like time travel or different dimensions. Like I am in. So this really caught me.
yes, it was definitely well, definitely up Roxy's alley. Kind of mine too, because I love time travel
Hmm.
movies, everything. Like some of my favorite time travel movies. Of course, you gotta do Back to the Future, the original, the Time
Just saw the
Machine.
trailer for that, and I'm
Oh yeah,
super
the new one that's
excited.
gonna. Yes, I'm all about that too.
And the fact that Michael J. Fox is gonna be in it, like,
And so is Christopher Lloyd, and I was like,
yeah, I
oh
did
my
see that. I
God.
was like,
Like, Jesus Christ, this is gonna
I was
be
like, I am so
fascinating.
excited for this movie.
Yes, me too. And then, but like all the time travel movies, going back way back, I mean, just love them all for me personally. Um, and Bodies is no exception. So to jump into it, let's try, and all I can say is let's try to give you an idea of what Bodies is about because it really can get confusing.
It,
And it unravels in the last 2 episodes, but even then, you don't get the full picture until the last episode. And it was just so well done and so well written that you
mhm.
kind of you get hooked and you don't want to stop until you get that follow through because you want to know what
Because
the
I'm like,
hell
what happens
happens.
next?
Yeah,
What happened?
exactly.
What's happening? What's happening? Like that's how I
What's
was. I was
happening
like,
in
what's
this
happening next?
timeline? It's such a trip. So Bodies starts off with a body being discovered in 18, I think it was 1891. A naked body appears, or no, maybe it was 2023. See, that it's already getting confusing for me. But a body appears, and it's a naked, dead body, which is why it's called Bodies, because the truth is,
Hmm.
it appears more than once. Now, I guess the best way to explain it is just going through the timelines. Okay, so there is a dead body that appears in 1891,
So
in
it's 1890,
1890,
1941,
1941. 2023,
2023 and
and
2053.
2053. So you have the same exact body, the same exact person in all these timelines. Now, the one who has the most information is 2023
Yes.
because when they bring in the detectives, what happens is this particular detective in 2023, she's very critical. And what happens is she's going off this investigation, trying to figure it out. The reason she has the most info is because she eventually, at some point, discovers that this happened in the 1800s and in 1941. And so she's able to start pulling information from there. But it makes it only worse for her because the thing is, it's the exact same body and the
Hmm.
exact same person. And it's just, it starts to become a mind fuck after a little bit because you're like,
Right. Because you're like, how the hell does
exactly.
this same dude with
Hmm.
the same exact injuries pop up naked in the same place
Hmm. In four different
in
time
3 decades?
periods.
At her time, it was
Yeah.
2 other decades.
Yes. Exactly.
How is this even possible?
And
So it's a
be-
total mind fuck. Like,
it
what?
is.
How?
And you want to know why it's happening because it's like,
Yes.
wait a minute, how is that even
You
possible
want to
that
know
there's
why and how.
yes, exactly. Because it's like in all the time travel movies we've ever experienced, it's like you have one person who goes back into one point of time. But in this case, you have one person who ends up in four timelines. And it's like, the fuck is happening with that? How is it the same person in every timeline? So immediately, it's a mind fuck
Right.
because you get introduced slowly to the fact that this is happening from the 2023 perspective and back. And then lo and behold, they drop one on you, the 2053 one, which that body pops up and it's like, what the hell is happening there? That it's happening in 2053. And then that detective, that one was really interesting. So I'm going to ruin a little bit, not a whole lot for y'all. 20 2053 and 2023 are important. And I'm going to
Very
tell you
important.
why. I'm going to go ahead and tell you why. So 2053 is the aftermath of what happened in 2023. And what
Mhm.
happens in 2023 was something that I wasn't expecting, but it was a nuclear bomb went off in
Mhm.
London that is also tied to this body. So not only is there a dead body, but there's a nuclear bomb involved. And you're thinking to
Yep.
yourself, how the hell is that even possible? But it is a trip that this is even happening.
Yes.
So the the woman in 2053, unbeknownst to her, is responsible for the bodies appearing in all four timelines. And it is
Yeah.
bizarre as
That
fuck.
part
Yeah.
really messed me up. Like when it all came together, I was just like, oh, it's her.
And she loved him.
Yes. I was like, oh my God.
Part of me is like, that's why she did it. Because bitches be angry.
No, yes. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God.
At
So,
one point, I was like, you stupid. Like
yep. And she
they
fucking
just told you and you're not listening.
mm-mm. Just I don't know what I want to ruin and what I don't want to ruin, but
I know. I'm trying to be very careful.
because the thing is like if you say too much, then we give you all the clues and we don't want to do that. But I will say this,
No.
2023 and 2053 are the most important thing. And the one thing that's going to drive you nuts is there's a cult involved with this.
Yes. Oh
Yes, and
Lord.
that's the thing that kind of also kind of drives you nuts in the sense of like you're really at the point of like what the fuck is going on here? Like seriously,
Like
there's
what?
four dead bodies, four different timelines, there's a cult behind all of it, and there's a nuclear bomb. So it
Like
just
what?
It's layers upon layers of, oh my God, what is going on? And then the
Yes.
complexity of like whoever wrote this, I swear to God, they had the most massive whiteboard in their room just to like keep
It was
the
like that.
timeline going.
You know that meme where it's got that guy in the front of the board with all the pictures and the
Yeah,
wires going everywhere, and he's trying
yeah.
to explain something? Like that's exactly how I
That
feel this writer board looked.
that's how this author had to keep the
I
whole
swear.
story straight because I can see this like going to shit really quick, like trying to be,
Yeah,
well, wait a minute, didn't this happen? Like, damn it, wait a minute, I can't do that. How do I work this in here?
right.
I was floored because there's so many moving parts to this story.
So many moving
And the
parts.
fucked up part is you get involved. You want to know how
Hmm.
this disaster is unraveling. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. It is one man's quest to not be butthurt anymore. It is literally one man's quest to
Yeah.
fucking not be
No.
butthurt.
I was like, are you kidding me? Seriously? Because you got your feelings hurt?
Hmm.
But I mean,
He want he wants to
his
be
childhood was kind of shitty.
yes.
But
He wants to be loved.
Ser
Literally.
like they really could have. I will say that is my one bad note about it is that they could have come up with something better for
No.
like a reason why he did this. You know, like
What's a better reason to blow up half
it's a
of the
better reason to blow up the world.
yes, then I want to be loved, damn it.
I swear.
And even the motto of the cult, because it was like, what is this abbreviate? Yes.
Remember, you are loved.
Yes, it's no, not remember, it's no, you are
Oh
loved.
yes,
I
no,
was
you are
like,
loved. That's what it was. No,
the
you were loved.
fuck, bro? How badly were
Okay.
you
As soon
hurt?
as I saw that twice, I was like, okay, what cult is happening?
I'm serious. It's like, bro, you are so fucking hurt. Like, you need to get over it. You are
Man,
so butthurt. It led you to go travel through time. First off, figure out how to travel through time.
that
Set up this elaborate plot to blow up London while traveling through time. And to acquire all the things that he had acquired, it was through time travel in order
Mhm.
to literally no shit blow up London so he in the future can create this cult world of know that you are loved. I'm like, bro.
Everyone feeling loved and being one.
I was like, bro, you damn it, bro. You,
Mm.
I mean, damn. That's all I can say. He was
Yeah, that's
so
all I
hurt.
got. Mm.
I was like, it was literally just homeboy wanted to be loved, so he it's, all this shit came about because of it, and my mind is
I
like,
mean,
the fuck?
dramatic much?
A little. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back through time. I'm gonna blow up London. I'm gonna fucking
Jesus,
create
I
my
thought
own.
I was dramatic.
I'm
Like
gonna create my own society where I am loved. Damn
where
it.
everyone feels loved. You're
Oh my God. And if you don't feel the love, we're going to get you. You're gonna feel the love.
gonna feel the wrath.
Yeah, oh my God. It was bizarre. It was
It
great. It was addictive.
it was a good show.
It really was. It really was. Again, you kind of have to keep up with the timeline. A lot
Yes,
of that.
because
Go ahead, go ahead.
19, what was it? 1841 or
Mm, 1893 or
whatever. Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever year that was.
Mm.
The very first year, like that year was crazy.
Yes.
How how he came about, like how he met that journalist and that happened and then it all ties in with this weird time traveler guy.
Yeah,
And
it
what he's
was.
trying to do is figure out who murdered this person.
Hmm. It really, really was. I was like, what the
That
heck?
whole tie-in with him and his daughter, and I was just like, what?
Seriously.
What?
I was
I got so angry. I got so angry.
it
I was
it
like, you asshole.
hmm it
I
was
was like,
such a trip.
I just couldn't imagine that pain, that anger that he was feeling. Like, oh,
Yeah. Talk about
I was
insane.
that.
And then the fact that his daughter, I mean, the daughter, his own daughter, becomes part of this cult
Yes.
that puts this other horrible situation, knowing what your dad went through. That was fucked up. And you still end up with this guy. I was like, this is
Think
messed.
that I mean, he lied to her, obviously.
Well, no, she knew because remember she was also telling the story about, how this happened. She truly believed in what the bullshit
That
that,
he was telling her.
yeah, so and that it was for the greater good and that her dad was put through this for the greater
Right.
good. And I was like, the fuck, woman.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like she has no idea what really happened.
Yeah, yeah, it was insane. But a Homeboy from 1941. So the one in 1941 is this character named D.S. Whitman,
Oh my
Whiteman.
God, that storyline.
He
Oh.
was so corrupt, it kind of keeps you like, what the hell is, there's
Hmm.
so much going on, but he's also unknowingly, secretly working for this organization that's trying to, destroy the world here. And he is played by Jacob Fortune Lloyd. A lot of these actors I had never heard of, and
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't.
there was.
Only the guy that plays the time traveler looked familiar to me.
Yes, he's familiar to me too. His name is Stephen Graham.
What
And
else has he been in?
okay, so the thing that I recognized him the most from was, if you're a Guy Ritchie fan, he was in
Mm-mm.
the movie Snatch. And that's what I recognized him for. And I love the movie Snatch, but he has done quite a bit of everything
Yeah,
else.
I know I've seen him in other things. I couldn't place where I'd seen him before.
Yeah, he's done
But
a
he was
lot of
really
things.
the only recognizable actor that I knew that like I had seen in something else.
Right. Now, I'm sure these actors are powerhouses in their own right, in the sense
Oh
of like
yeah.
in the UK circuit, but in the American circuit, it's like you may or may not know them. And like I said, Stephen
Um,
Graham I knew because
guy
he was
too,
in Snatch.
1940 something. Him too, with the little
Jacob
girl.
Fortune Lloyd, yeah,
Yes, he looked
that's
familiar too. Like I know I've seen him in something too.
he's done some interesting stuff from my understanding, but it's mostly he was in the Three Musketeers. Um, he was in See How They Run and a few other
Three
little things.
Musketeers and See How They Run. I've seen
Oh,
that.
he
And what's
was in the
that called?
Queen's Gambit, which was a really
I haven't
huge
seen
one.
that.
Um, but he does an excellent job of playing a corrupt, dirty cop in 1941,
He really did.
with the war going on and then the bombs dropping everywhere, and him
Hmm.
not wanting to. He's involved with this organization, but doesn't want to be involved with this organization, kind of like because of what he was
Right.
asked to do, but also having to deal with the body that pops up. It's just too incredible. And like I said, there's so much going on that it's hard to keep up sometimes, but it
Yeah.
is totally well worth it once you.
Definitely worth the watch. Like when you pitched it to me, you were like, "Oh yeah, you got to watch this show, but it's really a slow burn. It took like 4 episodes for me to get into it." And I
Mhm.
think I even told you, I was like, "Yeah, you're not really selling this show for
Yeah.
me. Like you're not selling this, bro." And then you were like, "No, no, no, no. It's like it's a really good show. You should watch it, blah, blah, blah." So I think like what was it, maybe the next day or 2 days later, I watched it.
Hmm.
I started watching it and I was like, what the hell was he talking about? This is great.
This
Like,
is
I
a
love this. I'm in. I want to watch this. And I think I binged it over that weekend.
Yeah, yeah, you did,
Because I
because I
forgot, I think
remember.
I texted you about something and then we got like 3 shows mixed up. And I was like, no, 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 no,
Yes.
no, no.
It was so good. And then like, so my favorite character in there is D.S. Whitman, the corrupt one in 1941, because
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot more than what we give him credit for.
Oh,
He
yeah.
really does, and including
He helps untangle some of that web
yes,
for
and
Thepoproxx.
he also puts a bullet in a few of the issues too. Like
Yes, he does. Yes, he
he
does.
takes out, Paulie,
Don't give it
who
away.
I don't want it to, but
Don't
you
give it
kind of have
away.
to. But he takes out like some of the other corrupt organization members,
Hmm.
and he just does a really, but you're surprised how many people are truly involved with it.
Yeah.
And the one who had the least involvement with the corruption, but only because she was in that timeline where the society had already happened, was DC Maplewood, played by Sierra Haas. Um, and actually, I want to say,
Maplewood. Isn't she 2053?
yeah, yeah, she's 2053. And in this timeline, okay, the interesting thing about her, I thought she was a German actor. I'm a fool. She's an Israeli actress. She is
Really?
an
I
Israeli
liked her
actress.
so much.
She
Like I loved her
was
hair.
so
Like I loved
good.
her look. Like she's such a good actor. Like I liked her a lot.
She was very good. And then uh just she's an Israeli actress, and in the movie Bodies, she isn't much to look at. They kind of
No,
have her, but my God,
she
in
is, but she is.
she is gorgeous in real life. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. So, Sierra Haas, call me. Uh, but like, she's absolutely
You wish.
gorgeous. Yeah, I would kind of do. She was absolutely gorgeous. But really, if it wasn't for her, in a way, things don't work out as well, because then she has to travel back in time, and
Hmm.
she ends up in well she's she ends up in all four timelines too, because she's in 2053, but then she goes back to the other timelines. Now what happens is, apparently, this time machine that they also call the throat, it's very interesting. They come up with so the body that ends up in all these timelines is the man who comes up with the theoretical concept to actually make time travel possible, using a wormhole and something about the energy of a black hole or something, where I couldn't follow it. But the thing is, they kind of intersect, and in that point when they intersect, you can travel back. But the weird
Hmm.
thing is, it will split you in three different ways. So you can
So you go
hit
into three
three
different
different
dimensions.
timelines. So it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. The time travel theory got a little too much for me, because it's like, I'm only used to one person being able to go back into time. This concept of like, I can split you molecularly and
Yeah,
send you back to different timelines was like, ow, my head hurts.
that's the dot on the Jeremy Bear me.
Yeah, so that's kind of questionable. If you're more of a true, like, sci-fi nut, and you're like only one, well then it's only one. But if you expand your mind a little bit, it's the four, and I'm like, wow, my brain hurt.
Like, do you get the Jeremy Bear me reference?
Yes, I do. I don't explain it to the audience though.
I don't know if I'm going to do a good job of explaining it, but I'm going to try.
Mm-hmm.
So on the show The Good Place, correct? That's where you know it from.
Hmm.
On the show The Good Place, they have they're explaining timelines and how here on Earth we have a straight timeline where it's the past, the present, and the future.
Hmm.
But in the, I guess, quote unquote afterlife, time moves in a Jeremy Bearimy,
Hmm.
which means that the timeline just moves and curves and whips around and does all these things, which when you look at it with all the curves and stuff, it kind of looks like the name Jeremy Bearimy
Hmm.
with the dot over the I. And the I is where never always happens.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's Tuesday.
Oh my God. So yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but like you have
if
to
you
watch
watch
it.
The Good Place, it
You
makes
have to watch
sense.
it. So I
If
don't
you've
just
never seen it,
out
good luck to you.
Jeremy Bearimy,
Hmm.
and that's what supposedly the timeline looks like in the afterlife.
Hmm.
There's like it interconnects, it twines, it, sometimes before happens,
Hmm.
if that makes
It's
sense.
it's a trip. So in this case, like it's kind of like following the Jeremy Barons because it's like
Right.
you really have to pay attention. And then at the
Really.
end, it was like kind of weird that this is what the timeline is called, or the time machine is called the throat, because it
Oh, it's the
opens.
time knife.
There you go. It's a time knife. So what happens is the throat opens up and it swallows you, and at that point, you split into
Hmm.
three. So it's really weird, but that's the best I can do to explain it because even I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't get it. But
Have you seen Everything All at Once?
no, I have not.
Definitely you need to watch that movie,
Hmm.
and that would probably give you a better understanding of this show.
Of the throat.
Because Everything All at Once is about different dimensions.
Hmm.
And like how your being can be in three different dimensions, living three different lives.
Yes, in the current, but this
Yeah,
one,
in the current present, like right now.
yeah, but this one is time travel has split
Well, I'm
one
just saying
person
if
into
you watch
three.
that, it'll give you a better
Mhm.
understanding of that splitting into three.
I'll try it. But yeah, this one was like this one was totally it was interesting. It was very creative, extremely well written.
Very
The actors were so good and masterful at this.
brilliant.
Did you have a particular favorite detective timeline? What was there a favorite one for you?
I loved them all, but I think 2023 was my favorite just because she was so inquisitive.
Yeah. I my favorite was the
Her and 1940 something, both of them
1940.
were very inquisitive, and I liked that.
1940 was my favorite, and then 2053 was my favorite too, because really without her, that doesn't any of that doesn't
Right.
happen.
The only reason I didn't say her as my favorite is
Mhm.
because I was like, if you would have been paying attention, girl,
Yeah, exactly. Now
you
she
could have
is
stopped this.
2053 is responsible for the bodies, so you need to know that. But you're not going to learn that till much, much
Yeah,
later
not till
in
later.
this. So that's the thing. Things start to unravel, and it becomes more clear for you the further you get into it.
Yeah.
For me, things started really piecing together in the fourth episode. That's what kept me saying, okay, I'm more into it at this point because things are becoming clearer, or I can see a pattern forming
Uh-huh.
in episode four. But again, nothing is cleared up until the very last episode. And even in the very last episode, I'm going to tell you this, you really have to pay attention because I think me and Roxy even talked about this. Because I was like, that's it, it's over, and she's
Oh
like, and
yeah.
you were like, no, it isn't, because
I'm like, no, I feel like
Maple,
they left it open for another season.
right. And the truth is, that's not true. It's a sad ending for one of them because she's trapped in a rewritten timeline.
Hmm.
Like she's never gonna, but the thing is, she says that before she goes into the throat. She goes, I'm never coming back, am I? And they were like, probably not.
Probably
So when
not.
she goes back to try to fix everything, she kind of does fix everything, but I will say this, she because everything kind of gets fixed and almost, I'm not going to say it gets all reset, but I'm going to say this, because of what she did, she ends up trapped in 2023, and that so uh that's how she knows the other detective in that, because
Oh yeah, because I was like,
she's
well,
traveling
because I
backwards.
felt like whenever she was like, "Hi, detective," whatever the hell your name
Mhm.
is, like, I
Yeah.
forgot her name, Sasha something. Well, hi, detective, whatever.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh shit, like part two.
Right. No, so the one you're thinking of, DS Hassan, who,
Hassan, yes.
yeah. So Maplewood is trapped in 2023. She knows who Hassan is because Hassan survives into 2053,
Yes.
and they know each other through there. But when she goes backwards, Hassan doesn't know her. This is the first time she's
No.
ever met her.
Hmm.
So what ends up happening is that poor Detective Maplewood is a sacrificial lamb in all this, and she ends up being trapped in 2023. And that's pretty much it. But there's really no loss, I guess, for her because her best friend or the person who she thought was her best friend really wasn't her best friend. And
No, was not.
then,
Oh my God.
yeah, right?
That woman played that part so well. Oh
Exactly.
my God. It wasn't until when Homeboy was there that I was like, thumbs up, thumbs up.
And she has no family. Well, no, she does, but all that gets reset too. And then
Mhm.
so it's going to be a brand new life and world for her. Whatever happens is going to be brand new. And it's going to be very kind of interesting and scary. So there are sacrifices. I guess that's kind of the sad part about it. They kind of save the world in the timeline, but there's a huge sacrifice, and I want to say that's Maplewood, and she's the biggest one to sacrifice anything, even though they kind of downplay that. You kind of have to think about that, the fact
Right,
that
right.
she's
You don't
trapped.
realize that at
Yeah,
first.
like what happens to her other family? Like it was really her stepbrother, not her brother.
Yeah,
Like what
yeah.
happens to him and the nephew and all that stuff, because all that's changed now. Things aren't things aren't going to happen the way they thought. I'm not going to say there isn't a bomb anymore, but there's not a bomb anymore. So what happens to
Not
that
gonna say
life?
that, there's
But
not.
there we go. So for me, checking out bodies is definitely worth it, but you're gonna have to invest in it. I liked it. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I would definitely
I
watch
wouldn't
it.
say you have to invest in it, but I mean, if you were into sci-fi and you like time travel and anything dealing with other dimensions, you're gonna
Mhm.
love this show. And if you're like me, you're gonna love it in the first episode.
Well, I think you kind of have to invest in it because in order to pay attention, like it's not one of these things where you can walk out the room and then come back because you're gonna miss too
Oh
much.
no, definitely. You
You
definitely need to dedicate some time to sit there and watch it.
you need to sit your ass there and actually watch it
Yeah.
because like I'm gonna skip a couple episodes. Don't. You're totally gonna fuck yourself if you do
No,
that.
yeah,
You're not gonna understand anything.
you might miss something very important.
Yes, so you're gonna need to actually watching that. So it's a thumbs up for me. Roxy, what about you?
Two thumbs up for me.
Two thumbs up for Roxy too.
If I could put my feet on camera, it'd be four thumbs up.
There you go. So if you maybe have a different view of bodies, maybe you didn't like it, maybe you want to share why you didn't like
Maybe
it.
you're wrong, but it's okay.
Maybe,
We can do
maybe
that
you are.
sometimes.
Maybe you are wrong. Or maybe you loved it and you want to discuss it. You can discuss it with us here at the VCR Show at our email, which is thevcrshow@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our Insta and Twitter at the VCR Show and go to our website, thevcrshow.com. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel, which is, you guessed it, the VCR Show. And if you'd like to go time traveling or exploring other dimensions with the lovely Miss Roxy, you can set up that time travel experience and jump through the throat together at her social medias, which are
On Facebook at Roxy Perez Curvy Model, on Instagram at PopRox428, and on TikTok at ThePoprox. And Poprox is spelled Poproxx.
and that XX comes from the throat. You gotta let that come out.
X.
X, X, you know. Uh, but until next time, I'm Vara,
And I'm Roxy.
and you've been listening to VCR.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You have been listening to VCR, creative content by Richard Christopher Vara and Roxy Perez. Logo by Richard Christopher Vara with assistance from Annie Ramirez. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us at thevcrshow@gmail.com or our social medias at Instagram and Twitter at The VCR Show. And you can also check out our content at thevcrshow.com. The show song is Addict by Nefex, instrumental, and you can find them on YouTube Music Library.